a patient of Dr. Patel, and I'm going to bring Stephen up here, and I want you to give your undivided attention to his personal story and his battle. Stephen?
Good evening. My name is Stephen Baker. I'm 29 years old and I have terminal cancer. Fighting the war is nothing new to me. When I graduated high school, I joined the Army and became an infantryman. Infantryman is the guys on the front lines, kicking in doors, doing all the fun stuff. After basic training, I was stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington, where my unit was getting ready to deploy to Iraq. So we spent the next 2 years training for Iraq, urban warfare, guerrilla warfare. About 60 days prior to our deployment, my unit changed the orders, told us we were going to Afghanistan. Obviously, with the big, huge change going on, we had a lot on our plate. Our unit was trying to give us a crash course on Afghanistan and everything going on there. About 3 weeks prior to my deployment, I received a call that would be the first soul-crushing loss of my life. The loss of my mother. I was able to go home for 7 days. After 7 days, I was back to work and I was on a plane to Afghanistan. It didn't take too long for us to figure out how heavily populated the area was with enemies. About 2 weeks in, we were in our third foot patrol, and my team leader, Sergeant Troy Ron Tom, stepped on an IED and was killed immediately. About 6 hours later, we had a supporting unit, Bravo Company, come to help us find Sergeant Tom's body. And while that was happening, I lost one of my best friends, Jonathan Yanni. About 6 hours later, we were not able to find Tom's body, so we stayed there, we hunkered in for the night, and we got a couple of supporting assets with us. With that being said, we also lost Lieutenant Brzezinski. He was in an alleyway looking for Tom's body, where I was all day looking for Tom's body. Unfortunately, he stepped on an IED and lost both of his legs from his knees up, as well as his right hand. All that chaos in 24-hour period, and it was the second week there, our guys came to the point where it wasn't if we were going to die, it was when. Very early in my deployment, we came to the conclusion that's not if, it's when we were going to die. I lost 22 of my brothers over there, and it was one of the highest death tolls since the Afghan war started. Another 70 of my men received Purple Hearts. I personally have been blown up 2 separate occasions and sustained numerous injuries, but none life-threatening. After returning home from my deployment, I wanted to change of pace and I moved down to Florida. I got hired on at FedEx Express, and at the time I was about 195, 200 pounds, really big into working out. When I started getting this really bad pain in my groin. So I went, got a routine CT scan done. Come to find out, the doctor was like, "Sir, you do not have a hernia, you are covered in cancer." So my first response was, well, this sucks, what do we do next? So he sent me to my primary physician. He then linked me up with Florida Cancer Specialist, where Dr. Patel was considered my oncologist. After about a month of figuring out what type of cancer I had, we found out I had a very rare cancer called desmoplastic small cell round tumor. Only about 15,000 people have ever had it, so it's super rare and they don't know much about it. The next step was a very strong chemo regimen, which would have me in the hospital 15 days out of the month. And in between those 15-day sessions, I was doing 6-hour infusions as well. After that plateaued, we came to the conclusion to do a debulking surgery. This debulking surgery would consist of them cutting me from 3 inches below my belly button to right under my spleen, taking out my intestines, removing the disease, as well as my kidney, my spleen, and a part of my stomach. I wasn't able to walk for about 4 days after the surgery, and about 6 days after that, they were able to let me go home. After they sent me home, I was lucky enough to get sent home with this beautiful drain tube for 2 months, and I got to play with that, which was a great time, trust me. So that brings me to why I look like George Clooney at 29 years old with his beautiful white hair Dr. Patel's got me rocking. So right now I'm on a maintenance chemo, and so now I'm on a maintenance chemo, and it's doing really well. My body's handling it very well. On a serious note, I couldn't be more blessed to have a team like Florida Cancer Specialists by me fighting this war, because trust me, cancer in itself is just a war that I would not want anyone to have to go through. And trust me, I've been to war, and it's not fun. That's why I asked you tonight to donate, not just because of me or my story, but because there's other things involved with cancer. Bills, medical bills, and the thought of that, and having 3 children and trying to keep a roof over their head, that's the last thing I need to worry about. So when I needed help the most, Fuller Cancer Specialist stepped up and took that off of my plate so I could focus on this disease and my family and being here as long as I possibly can. I've come to peace with my prognosis, but I promise I will fight until there's nothing left in me. And I know that the Foundation of Florida Cancer Specialists will be fighting right by my side. Thank you for all your support. While every cancer patient has a unique story, many of us share the devastating loss of income because we cannot work during treatment. I want you to meet another young man who knows firsthand how important support in the Florida Cancer Specialists Foundation. And like me, he also knows that keeping his faith and positive attitude is a big part of this battle. Thank you.